And there it is, cooking merrily away.
Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today, I want to show you how to make a hobo rocket stove using not one, not two, but 3 different size tin cans. Stay tuned. Before we get started, I want to say that I got the genesis of this idea from one of my viewers who goes by the handle of GSXR1300. So thank you so much for the basis of this idea. Let's get to the build. To make this project, you're going to need 3 cans of different sizes. This is just a standard can like corn or beans would come in. This is a slightly smaller can. It had a cheddar cheese type soup in it, and it fits inside here with some little room left over. And then the third is just a tomato paste can, very small, and it fits inside of that one as well. So they all 3 nest, and that's really important. Of course, you want to wash them out, and this can you need to remove both ends. After washing these out and taking off the labels, you want to save a couple of the lids. This is the pop top, and this is the other can. It could be top or bottom, it doesn't matter. And even though this is a pop top, I used a safety can opener on all of these cans so that there are literally no sharp edges. And that just makes it a lot better for you to work with. Setting these aside for a moment, I'm going to take the small lid, or bottom, it doesn't matter which one, from the soup can that had the tomato in it, and we're going to bend this slightly. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just put a slight radius in it, kind of like that. And that's important because we want it to kind of conform to the edge of this can. We want to keep it up maybe a ½ inch from the bottom. Then we take some sort of a permanent marker, and we want to draw all the way around this. When you're done, you'll have an opening like that. And then we want to take the snips and cut this out. You can punch this with a nail or a drill. I of course carry a nail with me in my wallet. I've showed this to you before. Here's the nail that I carry in my wallet. It's just a 16 penny with the head ground flat so it rides better. And so this is very easy to just puncture in through this to make my first cut. And you can use a hammer or a rock or a stick or anything you want to poke this hole in. It's pretty easy to puncture, just like that, and that gives us enough of a purchase for our needle nose to be able to start cutting this radius. Alright, just like that. Now if you wish, you can take a file and you can smooth these sharp edges down and make that a little safer to handle. After you get that hole cut out and some of the sharp edges filed down, you want to test fit and make sure that the small can fits inside of the hole, and it should be pretty tight. You need to be able to have to work it in there. Alright, so that works pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Alright, then we take the next can, which nests inside, and we put it inside of this one, and then we use the marker, and once again we mark out this circle using the outside cut as a template. After you get them both cut out and the edges cleaned up, go ahead and insert the smaller can into the larger one and line up the holes, and then very carefully fit this in here. It should fit tight and should have some friction fit on it. When you get it in there, you might have to squeeze and work the can a little bit. Alright, just like that. And you want to leave a little space, of course, so that there's room for a burn chamber. So you want to slide this in all the way. Of course, you can adjust this, and it does ratchet a little bit if it's tight enough on these ribs. So you can push it in a little farther or pull it out a little bit, depending on how you want it to burn. But it's important that you have enough room, of course, for the ashes and the flame to come out. Alright, next we need to put a burn shelf in here. And for that, we're going to use the lid from the inner can. And all we're going to do is we're going to make some marks down here toward the bottom, about 25% of the way up on each side. So just kind of guesstimate. Put some marks on each side, approximately where you want it, and kind of gauge. Again, this isn't rocket science, it's a rocket stove. Alright, just like that. Then we take the snips and we cut out a slot. We don't want to cut it real deep. We're only going to cut it in maybe half an inch or so. Alright, now this has to be made a little bit wider, otherwise this won't fit. It's because the slot is a little too narrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean this cut up by just widening that a little bit. And then you should be able to carefully take and bend that and pop these little tabs off. Alright, so what we have are two slots now. At the bottom, we do a little bit of a test fit. Alright, yes, so that does work, but this needs to slide in even farther, so we have to make some slots in our lid as well. So we can mark where that needs to be. And then we do the same thing with the lid. Alright, and you can bend this around to make this fit a little bit better, and you can also increase the slot length to slide it in a little farther if you wish. When you're done with that, it should look something like this. Again, we've got slots in the side of the can, and then we cut slots in the other lid so that it could slide in and give us our air hole here to make the rocket stove work more efficiently. Next, we disassemble the stove. We've got to put some burn holes in. And for that, we're going to use our nail, and we're going to go just below the lip of the can. And we're going to punch holes all the way around. So just like this. And we're going to go all the way around the can. It's fairly easy to do that. You can just push it all the way through to make sure that it's centered so that you can go exactly across the other side. We just need to be below that lip. There we go. I'm going to do that all the way around, and I'll get back with you. When you get done, you'll have something that looks like this. Now, because we nailed this from the outside, the inside is smooth, but the outside has a lot of burrs on it. So we're just going to take the pliers, and we're just going to very carefully just go around, and we're just going to crimp all these holes down. It's pretty easy, pretty quick to do, and it just makes them where it doesn't have that sharp edge on it like it did before. Once you get all of the holes crimped down, you want to go ahead and put the stove all back together like we had it. Okay, just like that. And now what we have is we have our rocket stove, and this of course the holes so that the fire can come out. Now there's another option that you can do for this. As many of you know, I like to use this hanger iron. This is not galvanized. I've had this for quite a few years, and it was $2.59. I probably bought this at a flea market or yard sale, but I've used quite a bit of this. But it's just a roll of strap iron. And what you can do is you can take a couple of pieces, and using these holes, you cut one at the top and one at the bottom so that they slide in together like this. And then also cut some slots for the can, so that when you put it on here, just like this, it forms a good burner surface for your pot. And if you cut these to the right length, it's also long enough that it fits down inside of the can without any real issue. When you take this apart, this will fit down inside as well, so you have a perfect nesting can stove To get it started, I'm going to use a couple small pieces of fat wood. Of course, you could use paper or anything else that you wished. All right, make sure those are going well. And we just stick it on in the stove, just like this. And then if we want, we can put some bits and pieces down inside, like so. That'll help it get going. And then some sticks and twigs. Go ahead and slide them on in there. Many of you are familiar with rocket stoves, so you kind of understand the basic operation. Now what's nice about this is once this gets heated up, it's going to burn with almost no smoke, and it's great for stealth camping. It's easily extinguished, and because of the nature of a rocket stove, it has almost 100% complete combustion. So that's a real benefit. And then we'll set the pot on top. I do find that the strapping gives a better base support and a little bit more for the flames to come out. The small nail holes around, it helps, but you get a much better flame distribution and opening if you use the strapping material. If you enjoyed this little project, make sure and give me a thumbs up. Of course, I'll remind you at the end of the video as well. But I've got another video coming next week, and it's a video where I show you how to put all of this together into a Hobo cooking kit. And I think you're really going to like that one, so make sure and stay tuned, and we'll get that on for you. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also make sure and check out the links in the description box below. And while you're down there, you'll also find our waypointsurvival.com link. And this is where you can sign up to take great survival and bushcraft training classes here at our beautiful facility in Southern Ohio. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. And when you do subscribe, make sure to press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.